Tech is still hiring, right? One of the things that you'll look at if you look at the news is that, hey, you know what? People have already talked about there being so many tech layoffs. Hey, there was 213,000 tech jobs that was lost and so forth in a year of 2023. At the beginning of the year, that's all you talked about. It's all we talked about was tech layoffs, people getting fired, people still getting fired, people getting let go and so forth. And it's caused a lot of people to say, maybe I'm not going to go into tech this year. Maybe I should be looking at something else if I want to transform my career or do something else in life, right? I've had a conversation with family members this week who were in a teaching space, and they want to do something else because teaching is no longer lucrative for them or they don't have a passion for it anymore. And one of the things I brought up was tech. And the first thing that came out of their mouths was, man, isn't people getting laid off from tech? Isn't tech really unstable at this point in time? And I said, no, because tech is still the most in-demand job that exists out there. But you need these skills to be able to land a job in there, right? So you think about it. And I said this to them as well, too. At the beginning of the year, end of last year, big tech was laying off. There was a hiring tumble. You had 213,000 employees worldwide that's been laid off in 2013 as of early July, right? Using statistics, so sites like layoffs.fyi and so forth, right? And that's coming from the companies like Amazon, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Salesforce, the Oracles, all those guys, those big tech companies were letting people go because of the fact that they overhired in 2021 and 2022. Same thing I said to my family members that we're talking about if, tech was unstable. Big companies are laying people off and they have laid people off, right? So, but tech is still hiring because if you look at the number of jobs that exist out there, you will see that there are many, many jobs out there for software developers, cybersecurity analysts, right? Sales development reps, business development reps, account executives. But where are they at? Are they at the big tech companies? No. I'll tell you exactly where they're at. They're at the small and middle-sized companies and also for the government. Also working for the government, right? For example, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, they announced in May that they're looking for 1,000 tech workers in tech roles, cybersecurity, right? Cloud, help desk support. There's tech jobs absolutely everywhere. However, big tech is not the people that's hiring at this point in time. It's small, medium, as well as government jobs. And not only that, you're finding tech jobs also in other industries, oil and gas, banking, the financial industry, and so forth. So these are going to be the new places that you guys are going to you need to start looking at if you want to get into tech. And many people right now still look for those big companies, right? Because they want that brand recognition. We've boosted it up so much to the point where people think that, these big tech companies are going to be the ones that are paying you the most money. And in some instances it is, but also in some instances you'll see that these guys also have laid a whole bunch of people off. And not only that, they have cut budgets, a tremendous amount. And if anything, they're not giving the same salaries to that they were giving in 2020, 2021, and 2022. But small, medium, government, they're hiring like crazy. U.S. Veteran Affairs, U.S. Department of Defense, small companies, Verkada, small companies like E2 Open, middle-sized companies. These guys are the ones that's hiring. That's where you need to start looking for these tech jobs in this sort of economy right now. It is no longer the big companies, no longer at this big companies at this point in time. Let's focus on the small, medium-sized companies. And you will see that there's tons of jobs that exist out there. If you go to LinkedIn or Indeed and so forth, you will be able to see that there's tons of tech jobs that are out there. So transitioning to tech is still in high demand. And not only that, you're going to get paid a good amount of money, guys, because there's no other industry outside of healthcare, right, outside of oil and gas, that are even competing with the tech industry at this point in time. Even with us being in a down market, there's no other industries that's competing, right? So tech is where it's at, guys. And you need to jump into tech, but you need to focus on the small, medium-sized companies. And the way that you can also get in is by having really good soft skills. A lot of people are like, you know what? What are soft skills, Antoine? Well, let me tell you this, right? There's such thing as hard skills where if you're going to break into tech, you have to be skilled at what you do. For instance, if you want to become a sales development rep, a business development rep, right, you need to understand how to cold call. You need to understand how to email. You need to understand how to communicate. You need to understand how to sell. You need to understand how to book appointments, all that stuff. Those are considered to be hard skills because you're taught those skills. But the soft skills are the skills that are going to carry you a long way. The ability to be able to collaborate with people. Many of you guys aren't breaking into tech because you don't know how to work with people. You're awkward. You're socially awkward. Your communication skills aren't that good. So how are you going to get into tech? So you need to focus on those soft skills because those soft skills are going to be what is competitive in this job market. Now that you have things like AI, right? ChatGPT just released a new beta version of ChatGPT that basically can take data in and does the job of a data analyst. So a whole bunch of data analysts right now are scared at that right now. I looked on LinkedIn yesterday, and you guys probably know the YouTuber, Alex Fredberg, right? He's the biggest data analyst YouTuber that exists out there. Well, he is using the tool to determine if ChatGPT can do the role of a data analyst. And some of his findings are coming back that they can do some of the job of a data analyst. But that shouldn't scare you for breaking into tech, though, because one, if you have the skills, you can leverage tools like ChatGPT to make your job a little bit more efficient. That's the whole point of AI. I was having this conversation the other day. I use ChatGPT every single day. Why do I use it every single day? To help myself write better emails, to build better PowerPoint presentations, to make sure that I'm hitting a certain point when I do communicate, especially if it's written communication, to Google things and I want a direct answer of how to do it. I use it every single day, and it's caused me to become very, very efficient in my role. And you should be doing the exact same thing. But if you want to break into tech, right, look at the small, medium-sized companies, get your skills up, use things like ChatGPT, but you have to have the ability to have those soft skills as well. Can you relate to people? Do you have empathy? Do you really care about people? Those are the soft skills, guys. Empathy, collaboration, being able to communicate. And if you work on those skills, that's going to be able to help you stand out in this competitive job market while you're trying to find that new job. And I'll tell you like this, right? Many people are going about this job search a completely different route. I'll use an example of people who are trying to break into tech sales, because there's so many people who go and do course careers, and there's so many people that's broken in, but you also got people who are looking to still break in because they may be in a class right now. They may be leveled or something like that, looking to break in. Well, first of all, you got to stand out. Number one, I created Instagram. So go and check out the Black Heist Instagram. And I created a video in 1 minute of telling you how I would break into the tech industry as breaking into sales if I was to do it all over again. Number one, make sure your LinkedIn is up to date. Number two, do the research on the companies that you want to work for. Number three, be bold, stand out. Create calendar events for the people who are in hiring positions. Create a virtual or a video resume talking about how you can do the job and a little bit about your background. That's the ability, and that will show how you can relate to them. Ask the right questions. And many of you guys are going through the interview process right now, and you aren't landing the roles because you can't relate. You're too stuck on being completely right and looking at the job description and answering their questions in the best way that you think you know how, based on what school taught you, right? For instance, if you're looking for a data analyst role and they say they want people with 3 years of experience and you have 5 years experience, one of the things you're probably talking about is, well, I have 2 extra years of experience than the job description actually says. Well, how do you know if what the company is doing? You have to ask the right questions in the interview process. You have to be relatable. And how do you become relatable? Doing your freaking research, guys. Doing your research. You have to do research on the person that you're going to be talking to. You're going to have to do your research on the company that you're going to be talking to. All that is needed in order for you to break into the tech space. Doesn't matter what role. You have to be relatable. You have to ask the right questions. You have to come into the interview acting like you already know what it's like to be in that job already. And if you don't know, that's how you figure it out in the interview, so that you do know. So if I was going to come into a role of a data analyst, I would have done the research on the company. I would have asked a lot of questions, right? Interview time came in. I would have been saying things like, hey, you know what? What CRM system do you guys use? I already probably know. Do you guys use Salesforce? Instead of asking that question, do you guys use, I understand that you guys use Salesforce as a CRM system. Who's building your dashboards so that you guys can see what's going on in your sales pipeline? Oh, this role is for a data analyst. Okay, well, are there dashboards that already exist? Who's responsible for building them? Why is this role open? What's the company culture like? Do people follow the rules? Do people use these dashboards? How do you ensure that people are using these dashboards? How do you guys measure productivity? Those are questions that you can ask to be relatable. Because the biggest thing is that if you're too focused on the job and only answering questions without asking the right questions, they're going to say, yeah, he has the experience, or yeah, she has the experience. But if it's something that needed to be built up from the ground up and you can't explain how you've been able to build it from the ground up because you didn't say anything about it in your experience, you think that person's going to hire you? If I was a CEO and I was looking for a data analyst candidate, right? See, this person has a resume, 5 years of experience. I'm looking for somebody with 3. And the only thing that they talked about was their 5 years of experience without really talking about how they were able to, what things that they were able to do in that 5 years, such as building dashboards from scratch. Because if I'm a CEO and I don't have any dashboards at all, I don't even have a CRM system, but they're telling me that they have more experience than what the job application says. And they're just answering questions without trying to understand a little bit more about me and how I run the company and so forth. You think I'm going to hire that guy or that gal? There's no freaking way in the world I'm going to hire them. Absolutely not. So guys, when you're in the interview process, it's the time for you to do the research and then ask the right questions. Hey, Antoine, I understand that your company is brand new. Do you even have a CRM system? No, I don't have one, John. Well, this is what I'm thinking. What are you thinking about, Antoine, for a CRM system? Well, I'm thinking about a Microsoft too, because Salesforce is a little bit too expensive. And some guys were trying to pitch me and so forth. Oh, well, you think about Microsoft Dynamics. Yeah, I'm thinking about Microsoft Dynamics. Have you used it before? Yes, I have. Okay. Well, have you built dashboards from the ground up? Yes, I have. Perfect. Tell me about a time that you built a dashboard that people are using it. Oh, well, I did such and such. That's the conversation that you want to have, guys. That's the conversation you want to have, not just this back and forth about your resume and about the job description. You have to be relatable. You have to be relatable. So come to your interview process, guys. Come to your interview in general with already pretty much knowing the answer and asking the right questions. Do your research on the person. If the person doesn't, say anything about me having kids or me being a married man or anything like that, I'm probably going to dismiss them because they aren't relatable. Because most people would know, okay, well, people who have kids who are married, that means a lot to them. And it's a way how you can soften and make me like you a little bit more. So if you come into an interview saying, hey, Antoine, I saw that you own the company Black Heights, you own the company Level. You work at Ethiopia in the supply chain industry. I see that you're married with 2 kids. Your kids play sports. You start asking those kind of personal questions and stuff like that, you're going to more than likely land a job if you interview well and you have the skills, guys. I'm going to tell you like this. I hired somebody the other day. Comes from the logistics industry in the fleet market, and we gave him a package that he couldn't turn down. Getting to this money, not this Kevin Costner money that I was talking about earlier, where he's able to pay his, wife child support, for $52,000 a month, right? But he's getting a good amount of money. He's getting a good amount of money. He was only making $120,000. Like he was making $110,000, but they gave him a car and stuff like that. We brought him on for $150,000 base plus a variable compensation of $180,000. Guy's got an opportunity to make $330,000 plus if he crushes it, absolutely crushes it. That's the money that you want to get to, because in your 30s, you want to be getting to that money, because in your 40s, you're going to be making more. In your 50s, you're going to be making more. In the time in your 60s, you're going to be making that Kevin Costner money. millions of dollars a year because you're getting that skill, you're gaining those skills now.